Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up, your insider's guide to the marble halls of Washington. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. It is late January 2026. The 119th Congress is in full swing. And Victor, looking at the docket this week, I think the slow start to the year is officially over. We have a mountain of legislation, a flurry of committee fireworks, and some significant judicial nominations.
We certainly do. It's been a heavy week for healthcare policy, digital infrastructure, and the power of the purse. But let's start with something that hits the wallet of almost every American: prescription drugs. There is a massive legislative push right now targeting PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers.
Right, these are the middlemen of the pharmaceutical world. Most people don't know their names, but they determine what you pay at the counter. We have two major bills in play. First, there's Senate Bill 3549, the PBM FAIR Act. And over in the House, we have House Bill 6837.
And House Bill 6837 is particularly interesting because it amends ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. It would legally classify these managers as fiduciaries. Now, for our listeners who aren't contract lawyers, fiduciary is a heavy word. It means you are legally obligated to act in the best financial interest of your client, in this case, the health plans and patients.
Exactly. If that passes, a PBM can't just steer you toward a more expensive drug because they get a bigger kickback. They'd have to prove they're saving you money. This builds on years of frustration regarding opaque drug pricing. And speaking of healthcare frustrations, the House Energy and Commerce Committee is holding a hearing this week titled Lowering Healthcare Costs for All Americans, and another featuring actual health insurance CEOs.
I expect those hearings to be spirited. On a lighter healthcare note, both chambers are moving resolutions, House Resolution 1019 and House Resolution 67, recognizing certified registered nurse anesthetists, or CRNAs.
I love seeing that. The text notes they've been serving for over 150 years, including in the armed forces. It's a nice bipartisan nod to the workforce keeping us alive on the operating table.
Absolutely. Now, let's pivot to infrastructure and tech. We're seeing a fascinating clash over artificial intelligence. Senate Bill 3557, titled the States' Right to Regulate AI Act, has been introduced.
This is a big deal, Victor. Usually the tech industry begs for one federal standard, so they don't have to follow 50 different sets of rules. This bill seems to go the opposite direction, explicitly empowering states to set their own guardrails on AI.
It's a resurgence of federalism in the digital age. And while we are talking about digital connections, we have the Success for BEAD Act, that's Senate Bill 3557 and House Bill 6920.
Success for BEAD?
I know, the acronyms never stop. BEAD stands for Broadband Equity, Access, and Deployment. It's the massive program rolling out high-speed internet to rural areas. These bills are essentially looking to streamline that process, likely cutting red tape to get the fiber in the ground faster.
Which connects nicely to the Fair Competition for Small Business Act of 2025, Senate Bill 3548. It feels like there is a thematic push this week to level the playing field, whether it's against massive PBMs or for small businesses.
Agreed. Now, Lenny, we have to talk about the money. The appropriation season never really ends. We have House Bill 6938, a massive package covering commerce, justice, science, and energy and water development for 2026.
And looking at the committee schedule, they are also marking up House Bill 7148 for Homeland Security. For those new to Capitol Hill lingo, appropriations bills are the must-pass laws that actually cut the checks to keep government agencies running. If these stall, we get shutdowns.
Precisely. And buried in the committee schedule is a procedure we should explain. The House Natural Resources Committee is looking at House Joint Resolution 140. This is a disapproval resolution regarding a Bureau of Land Management rule in Minnesota.
Right. This is a mechanism where Congress can essentially veto a specific rule made by a federal agency. It's Congress flexing its muscle against the executive branch. This specific one deals with withdrawing federal lands in Cook, Lake, and St. Louis counties, essentially a mining versus conservation debate.
Which dovetails into Senate Bill 3557, the Wildlife Crossings Program Reauthorization Act. We've seen these crossings, bridges for elk and deer over highways, reduce accidents significantly. It's a rare area where infrastructure and conservationists usually high-five.
Before we wrap up the legislative pile, we have to look at the personnel. The Senate executive calendar is packed with nominations. We are seeing a wave of new U.S. attorneys and district judges.
It is a long list. We have nominees for the Southern District of Texas, Western District of Arkansas, District of Alaska, and the Eastern District of North Carolina, just to name a few.
And U.S. attorneys from Maine and Pennsylvania. It's a reminder that while we focus on the bills, the Senate's role in shaping the judiciary is perhaps its most long-lasting legacy. These judges will be on the bench long after the 119th Congress adjourns.
And finally, looking at the oversight side of things, frankly, grab your popcorn. The House Judiciary Committee is holding a hearing titled Oversight of the Office of Special Counsel Jack Smith.
Regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, that room is going to be tense. And on the education front, we have markups on the Flex Act regarding charter schools and the Pregnant Students' Rights Act. It is going to be a very busy week in committee.
So what should our listeners watch for in the next few days?
Watch the PBM bills. If House Bill 6837 gains traction, it could fundamentally change how your health insurance handles prescriptions. And keep an eye on that appropriations package, House Bill 6938. We need that to move to keep the government funded smoothly.
And I'll be watching Senate Bill 3557 on AI. If that moves, we could see a fragmented tech landscape across the country. We'll be tracking the votes and the volume in those hearing rooms.
That's all for this edition of Capital Catch-Up. Thanks for listening.
Stay informed, and we'll see you next time.